Get ready for some great music and great stories. Band in Seattle starts right now. Welcome to Band in Seattle. I'm Xander Denke, and with me is Abby Williamson, writer, photographer, and creator of a successful YouTube channel and blog, Abbers07, to talk about tonight's band, Ravenna Woods.
Ravenna Woods is a band whose style is nothing short of perplexing, but in the best way possible. With haunting harmonies, complex and percussive acoustic guitar, ferocious drums, and dark, mesmerizing, beautiful, and sometimes twisted songwriting, and you've got a band that actually sounds like no one else. Plus, who couldn't love a band that filmed a music video in a taxidermy studio? And if you ask me, they're my favorite band in Seattle.
I'm very excited. We'll be right back with Ravenna Woods.
Woke up after noon, panic flooding through my room and wrenched me out of sleep.
My name's Chris Cunningham. I'm the lead vocalist, lead guitarist, percussionist, and other instrumentalists in the band Ravenna Woods.
Kicking out the door of my tomb and falling down the stairs. Tried to keep my head on straight, grabbed a bus and now was late, but couldn't catch my breath.
Ravenna Woods is the name of this area, this little park, obviously in Ravenna. I came to really love those woods there.
Totally fits right away, you know, and there's lots of banging on the wood of the drum and the rims of the drum, and kind of gives a more tribal vibe, maybe a little something more primitive, maybe in the woods.
My father was a jazz drummer. I feel like he shaped the way I think of percussion and approach to time signatures in music.
Anybody gives a damn at all. Well, I'd like to know, as long as it's a well-fixed game, as long as they can't see my face, then I won't lose any sleep.
The idea was to take Chris's songs, which are intricate and odd and wonderful, and execute them with the smallest amount of stuff possible.
I think a few years ago I would have called it minimalist folk music in a way, with sort of an edgy, aggressive rock influence. But it's changed a lot, and now it's an amalgamation of the different characters, specifically the three core members, which are Brantley, Matt Badger, and Chris Cunningham. They all have this musical personality about them that just definitively Ravenna Woods in my mind. Their keyboard player, Nick Danielson, who is an amazingly talented musician, had to go on a trip, and so a couple days before the performance, they were asked me to fill in. It's always a cool opportunity to get to play these songs.
Lock your doors. Lock your doors. Whoa. Say the lies in the city. Say the lies in the world. Yeah, you end up everything. Hey, 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 hey.
I would say that one of the building blocks of Ravenna is like Brantley and I's like shared love of exactly the same music.
Chris would just come over with songs and we'd just play them in my basement, and I'd just have like dinky instruments around. Shows started happening, you know, just Chris and I at first, and I was playing a drum, which I'm not a drummer. But then through the same friend that I met Chris through, we met Matt, and at the time Matt was very open to be a part of a project.
My dad took me aside and you know, was like, you lucked out. Like, this guy is really good, really, really good. He was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what he's doing.
I was really kind of active and hungry in the scene, and I was trying to meet as many people as possible and play on as many records as possible. And I just happened to hear something that I really liked, I thought was completely unique, and more along the lines, I think, of stuff that I aspired to be a part of.
Brother is about facing trials and tribulations with this person who's like a part of you and has grown to be a part of you and shares your world. One of my favorite parts about it is the lead up to the end, and it has this instrumental ending, this build up, and then this instrumental ending that just kind of, I don't know, there's something about it I can't quite put my finger on. Night Runners. I wrote that song while I was in Africa. I'm really interested in folklore, and this one story I had was this entity called a night runner. They can shapeshift, and they're kind of like a demon. The only thing about Night Runners in it is the title. The chorus of that song is about this Bloody Mary-ish type legend called Midnight Man. The lyrics of the chorus are describing the ritual for summoning this entity.
I hear that's how you let it in. Prick your finger with a pen. Light a candle at your front door. Knock 10 times and blow it out.
Night Runners, we kind of had our first taste of like full force bass guitar, and that was one of the songs where it was composed with bass in mind.
First time I heard Chris play it, I was kind of like, we're gonna do that? It's nuts.
I did try to reach you, I know, but there is time when the rollers come calling, they won't leave without a fight. Not much good can come from wanting blood in your teeth. You didn't wanna be here, now you're too damn proud to leave the facts. You tried to cross her, I'll be coming black. Goes be good, but not to cross them all, they'll swallow you. Oh no.
It's all just a feeling thing for me. I don't like have any kind of like premeditated plan. I just listen and it starts forming. Basically, I bring a demo to the band and it shows you the dynamics of the song and where it needs to open up and where it needs to get reined in. And they listen to it for a few days and then we come to practice and we rework the song. But it's really exciting to see where they take it. You know, that's when the song opens up to me.
Deathbed, I made a deathbed out of piles of leaves. Deep in the forest where no one could see, I stumbled off of the road.
The song "The Road" is regarding the time I spent in this country, the Marshall Islands. It's out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's very isolated. This is a map of the Marshall Islands right here. It's a stick chart. That was really what sowed the seeds of what would become Ravenna for me, because before then, I played hardcore music and then I played in like experimental, progressive rock. And out there, I just brought an acoustic guitar and a little 4-track with me and a drum machine. It forced me to think about playing guitar differently, to kind of be able to play different parts, like focus on a bass part and then be playing kind of lead over the top of it all on the same line. And so I really started training myself how to finger pick, not in a traditional sense, but just in a way that worked for me. The road has to do with this causeway that connected the two villages, the village I lived in, Jabor, and then this other village, Jalowit, and it was this 9-mile causeway that had the open ocean and the lagoon on one side. So I would walk that causeway to get to Jalowit, where I'd sometimes stay, and my dog, Junkie, would accompany me. It just started kind of evoking this mythical type feeling about just continually going down this road.
Back onto the road.
Playing with one floor tom and a guitar player and a xylophone player, like how dynamic can we be? I mean, you would think it could be pretty simple and you could get away with that, but it's very fast and complicated. But the parts move in such a way that I think it really lends to, you know, what made us sound unique to begin with.
Back onto the road, back onto the road, back onto the road, back onto the road.
Ravenna Woods' last 3 albums were called The Jackals, Valley of the Headless Men, and Demons and Lakes, all of which sound like installments in a trilogy of horror movies. But amongst the dark themes, there is a lightness to this band. Ranging from ghosts of dead grandfathers to the end of the world, you might think it would get depressing. But with the band's ferocity and lighthearted presence on stage, the last thing you could call Ravenna Woods is depressing.
So don't leave. We'll be right back with more of Ravenna Woods.
What's great with Ravenna is when I started writing to Chris's music, it's kind of given me a chance to approach things differently, accompanying something that's already wonderful. And it can be hard and also really rewarding when you find that thing that fits, that makes it better.
When you're playing live, I mean, that's really your opportunity to reach across with your mind. Even though you're physically playing something, you know, if you do it with the correct kind of vigor and intention, you can capture people bouncing off each other and off of the audience. And that's what I really love about this band, is it gives me a chance to kind of directly show the audience what I'm thinking.
Here we go, we're marching deeper through the modern world. You should know we gave it everything we had to give it more, but it will never be enough because it wants your fear, wants your hope. Passed out, sick, and dead drunk.
Working with Chris is great. He's got a brilliant intuition for music and a great sense for melody, natural born performer, just a really fantastic guy too.
He's relentless, you know, he has this like indefatigable creative, you know, motor that's always seems to be going. I could probably spend a lifetime writing as many songs as he's thrown away, you know. It's just the kind of creative process he has. I really have come to respect it, and I think that's probably what works like most solidly, you know, with us is our drive to just keep creating new stuff.
In the belly of the modern beast, you better make sure.
Border animals, yeah, you'd have to get into Chris's deranged psyche to figure that one out.
There's a video where we like get eaten by taxidermied animals, so check that out if you're interested. It's horrifying.
That song is very, very much a paranoid anthem. And it just goes back to that idea of things getting so bad that, you know, your own neighbor or best friend would give you up to the state police and you did something wrong, and not being able to really trust anyone and having to live on the fringes to feel safe.
Brilliant, catchy picking part, really bombastic, mid-tempo punk song. It never lets up, it's relentless, I love it. It's definitely a crowd pleaser.
Kenya, that's an interesting one. I wrote that song before I'd ever gone to Kenya, and there was all this stuff going on in my life, and I had been invited to go, and I really wanted to go, but because of all this stuff that was happening, and because it's big steps to take to just get there and figure all that out, I was just like talking myself out of it at every turn, and then I just kind of came to a point where I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I have an opportunity to go. I should, at any cost, just make it happen, because most people don't have this opportunity.
Near, as far as I can tell, we'll never find a way out. We'll never find a way back from here. All the kids have gone inside, 'cause all the danger's outside.
The song is kind of an anthem to not let yourself get trapped by anxieties and worries. And it sounds like kind of cheesy, like inspirational, but that sometimes you need to just not think and go for it. Can't live in fear, kids.
Having in you to risk a change and find out what you're worth. What you think you're worth now? Lost in translation, lost between the lines, lost in all the fragments of your life. So push through the borders, chase them through the night, grab a hold and never let them die, let them die, let them die, let them die, let them.
I think with these guys especially, it's one of the things that clinched the idea that we would be a band for the long haul, is that more often than not, we find ourselves elevating one another as well as our idea of the song while we're performing it live. It's really where I've seen the most potential of those songs. They sound the best when we're up there giving it our all. We have a great chemistry, and it feels basically like you're endless in that moment.
To me, it's a really anxious experience, especially performing live. It's just kind of, I mean, it's scary. Like, it always weirds me out and kind of like irks me a little bit when I'm playing a show and I talk to a musician before we're all going on, and I'm talking about I've got, you know, the jitters or whatever, and they're like, oh, I never get nervous for it playing. Really? Damn.
Yeah, I know you laugh, you're feeling.
So I feel like there's something when it all locks in where it's just like that, and that evaporates, that feeling of the jitters, and man, it's camaraderie, and it feels powerful because you feel like this thing that you worked on is given life, and it's appropriately sending its message. I mean, that's what kind of leaves me in awe. It's the fact that before there was just air, and you sat down and constructed this piece of art that is this complex, it's almost a mini universe, you know, or a mini world. It's just amazing that that came out of nowhere and that people can do that. The excitement and kind of validation that comes from that is what makes it worthwhile to me. More than worthwhile, it makes me stuck on it.
Thanks, guys.
That's it for tonight's Band in Seattle. If you want to hear more, check us out on bandinseattle.com, where you can hear full concerts and find links for more information about our bands and where they're playing next. Abby?
And to stay up with the latest on the band scene, check out my YouTube channel at Abers07.
Go, subscribe, do it now. Thanks again for watching. Join us next week for more great music and great stories on Band in Seattle.